They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce,
But not you, man.
but they can't control me. You
Not
see, it
you.
ain't no name I won't name.
Exactly.
It's up. Leave me, leave the king the f alone. I don't care, bro. I'm gonna post my wife as much as I want. Go post your wife on your Instagram.
He has always been unpredictable, but his latest revelation might be the most explosive of his entire career. In a string of online tirades and late-night posts, he dropped a claim so staggering that it could shake the very foundation of hip-hop's royal dynasty. He didn't just lash out at Jay-Z as a distant former friend or business rival. He accused him of hiding hundreds of illegitimate children, an accusation that cuts directly into the carefully polished image Jay-Z has cultivated for decades. For years, we've all seen him celebrated as the mogul who rose from Marcy Projects to billionaire status, the family man who appears beside Beyonce and their 3 children as the model of stability in a chaotic industry. And now, in one furious outburst, Ye insists that was nothing more than smoke and mirrors.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh. Okay.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
The timing of West's claim is striking. He has been spiraling publicly for months, lashing out at Kim Kardashian, at the industry, and at celebrities he calls controlled. But this one cuts deeper because of his long and complicated history with Jay-Z. Remember, this is the same man who once called Jay his big brother, the one who practically launched Ye into superstardom. For him to now accuse Jay of living a double life, with secret heirs scattered across the country, takes the feud into a realm we've never seen before. And what makes it even more unsettling is that these whispers about Jay-Z's possible secret children aren't brand new. Stories have lingered for years about women stepping forward, lawsuits filed, DNA tests allegedly dodged. Ye didn't invent this fire. He's pouring gasoline on embers that never really went out.
Leaving with them, he took them to some apartment building, and you know, they did what they did in there, you know, talked a little bit, had a good time, party, and I guess had, you know, I can't fully talk as my mom because I'm not my mom. I'm just telling you guys what she told me. It was this, and I honestly just believe it. You know, it's just no doubt in my mind that I believe it. My mom wouldn't just.
We only have to look back at Letitia Macer, the woman from Maryland who claimed to be Jay-Z's daughter, posting on Instagram under the handle Jay's First Daughter. She insisted her family told her for her entire life that the rap mogul was her father, and her sister even corroborated the story online. Then there's Ray Meyer Satterthwaite, who has spent more than a decade trying to get Jay-Z into court for a paternity test. His case has been dismissed, refiled, appealed, and dragged through different jurisdictions, with Jay-Z's legal team calling it harassment. But the persistence of these people and the eerie resemblance some claim to see has kept the conversation alive. Now, Ye has reignited it on the biggest possible stage, practically daring the world to connect the dots. What makes the accusation sting even more is West's insistence that this isn't just about hidden family drama. He believes Jay-Z and Beyonce themselves are the reason for his own public downfall. According to Ye, they've been pulling strings behind the scenes for years, engineering attempts to have him discredited, institutionalized, and silenced. To him, the same power couple the world sees as pop culture's first family are actually the masterminds who tried to destroy him. He points back to the time they skipped his wedding to Kim Kardashian in 2014, a wound that still festers in his rants. He recalls how Jay chose Kendrick Lamar, not him, for the Super Bowl halftime show in 2025, a snub Ye took as deliberate humiliation. And he claims that when he needed them most during custody battles with Kim, they chose to stand back, or worse, push him further into the abyss. They might could have used their cultural position to not just watch the Kardashians run me over, he said. A line that reveals just how personal this betrayal feels to him. For Ye, the message is simple. His enemies aren't faceless corporate executives, they're people he once broke bread with. He has accused Beyonce of using her legendary grip over her image to subtly manipulate the press against him, ensuring that every erratic rant branded him as unstable. And here's where it gets particularly unsettling. Ye seems to believe Beyonce played the key role in protecting her family by discrediting him. If Jay-Z really has a network of hidden heirs, then West's outbursts would pose a direct threat to the Carter empire. What better way to neutralize him than to convince the world he's lost his mind? Beyonce's perfectionist streak, her reputation for controlling every detail of her public presence, fits all too neatly into West's conspiracy. Could she have quietly orchestrated the narrative while smiling flawlessly on red carpets and stages across the globe?
It's just he's Kanye West, you know, so it's like relentless. I was like, yeah, popcorn.
This theory may sound wild, but Ye has been consistent about feeling like an outsider among his supposed peers. In one of his tweets, he admitted, "I always felt like the black sheep, like I wanted family in this music." That line might be more revealing than any of his insults because it shows the deep wound beneath the chaos. He wanted loyalty and belonging, but instead he claims he got betrayal. And if we take his accusations at face value, then the betrayal wasn't just cold shoulders or career snubs. It was a calculated campaign to silence him because he knows too much about Jay-Z's private life. The context only fuels speculation. For years, lawsuits and whispers about Jay-Z's alleged secret children have surfaced, each time disappearing under legal technicalities and media silence. One case even included sworn affidavits claiming his supposed partner was underage when she conceived, a detail explosive enough to make anyone desperate to keep it buried. If Ye knows about these cases, and given his former closeness to Jay-Z, it's hard to imagine he doesn't, then his claim of hundreds of illegitimate children might be exaggeration, but not pure invention. It sounds like a bitter man taking the rumors everyone else ignored and turning them into a headline.
Yeah, and the thing about the kids at some point here, and not for the younger ones, it's at some point. For North, it's right now, right? That even if she doesn't see it, even if somehow Kim is able to keep that away from her, the kids that her friends at school, they're gonna know about it. They're gonna see it. And it puts the kids in a horrible situation.
What's even more intriguing is how Ye ties his own personal unraveling to this narrative. He says he's been targeted not because of his unpredictable behavior, but because he dared to speak truth about the most untouchable couple in music. When he lashed out at their children online, yes, the backlash was immediate and brutal. Even Kim Kardashian said she was appalled. But in West's mind, that was all part of the trap. Attack the Golden family and you'll be painted as the villain. Post something vile about the twins, delete it, then watch the headlines, declare you unfit as a father yourself. He insists he only deleted the tweet not out of remorse, but to avoid losing his account. In other words, he sees himself as cornered by a machine designed to protect Jay-Z and Beyonce at any cost.
But after that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious past.
And let's not forget the backdrop. Jay-Z himself is now embroiled in lawsuits tied not only to paternity claims, but also to serious allegations connected to his longtime friend, Sean Diddy Combs. Federal raids, civil suits, whispered scandals, Jay-Z has managed to keep his name relatively clean, but the storm around him is undeniable. Ye seizes on this timing, essentially telling the world, look closer. If Diddy is falling, how long before the spotlight shifts to his closest allies? If there really are hundreds of hidden heirs, how many more will step forward once the Carter shield starts to crack?
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling.
The tension escalates when we imagine Beyonce's role in all of this. Could she, the perfectionist who famously keeps her interviews scripted and her public appearances flawless, have been the one orchestrating the steady drip of headlines about West instability? Could every meltdown, every antisocial rant, every bizarre public spectacle be part of a carefully managed narrative that protects her husband's legacy while destroying his most dangerous critic? It's a chilling possibility, and Ye, for all his faults, is daring to voice it aloud. Now the question lingers in the air. Is Ye spiraling into paranoia, inventing enemies where there are none? Or is he the only one brave enough or reckless enough to point a finger at the Carters and say the emperor has no clothes? We've seen him cast himself as victim before, but this time, the stakes are higher. This isn't just about music or friendship or missed weddings. This is about hidden families, secret heirs, and the kind of power games that could make or break billion-dollar empires. And in West's telling, Beyonce is no innocent bystander. She is the strategist, the queen protecting her king, even if it means turning one of their oldest allies into a global punchline.
No, this part is not alleged. Jay-Z and his team, they have been ducking and dodging, taking the DNA test.
So when Ye insists Jay-Z has hundreds of hidden children, we have to ask ourselves, is this just another unhinged rant from a man who can't stop self-destructing? Or is it the tip of a truth that the industry has buried for decades? The more we examine the fragments, the lawsuits, the women stepping forward, the lawsuits dismissed, the silences maintained, the more the question becomes impossible to ignore. And if Beyonce truly has been pulling the levers of the media, then West's fall from grace wasn't an accident at all. It was a carefully managed demolition, designed to keep the Carter throne untouchable. And yet, the mystery only grows thicker. Because every time Ye seems to backtrack, tweeting that he loves Jay-Z or that he feels bad, it reads less like a genuine apology and more like someone realizing how much danger he might be in. One moment he's unleashing bombs, the next he's scrambling to soften the blow. That dance between explosive accusation and nervous retreat tells us he knows exactly how powerful the people he's targeting really are. And if he's right, then the Carter empire is built not just on chart-topping albums and billion-dollar deals, but on secrets so dark that they can never be allowed into the light.
I felt like, they had a whole lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in, because, sometimes you're around and you're watching to see things to do.
From the very beginning, Ye and Jay-Z were more than just collaborators. They were brothers in arms, rewriting the rules of hip-hop side by side. Jay-Z gave Ye his shot, Ye repaid it by producing some of the most influential tracks of the early 2000s, and for a while, it looked like nothing could split them. Their chemistry was legendary, their bond immortalized on stage and in songs. But behind that glossy image, cracks were forming. By 2016, the fallout was impossible to ignore. Ye ranted during concerts about Jay-Z not visiting his family after Kim Kardashian's terrifying Paris robbery. Jay responded on his 444 album with cutting lines that framed Ye as a wayward little brother gone astray. What started as creative friction evolved into something darker, a betrayal Ye insists was deliberate, orchestrated, and designed to break him down.
You know what I'm saying? They could control Shaq. They could control Charles Barkley. They could control LeBron James.
This is where West's cryptic posts become chilling. He has accused powerful forces in Hollywood of controlling celebrities, but the names he singled out are telling. They can control Shaq, they can control Charles Barkley, they can control LeBron James, they can control Jay-Z and Beyonce, he said in one infamous rant. He painted himself as the lone survivor, the one voice that cannot be silenced. To him, the Carters weren't just absent friends, they were the ones pulling strings, making sure the world viewed him as unstable, even dangerous. Deleted tweets, late-night posts, and sudden backtracking all add to the sense that Ye is sending warnings, then scrambling to protect himself from retaliation. The story he tells is one of manipulation from the highest levels, where loyalty is sacrificed to preserve the empire.
Well, basically, my mom was at a show, and she was with a friend. And I guess her and her friend stayed to, after the show, he was doing little signings and little autographs and stuff like that. I guess he wasn't too big, but I guess females, when the show is over, you can sign little autographs and stuff like that, talk to the people who perform. She said she went up there.
And then there's the most dangerous layer, the whispers of Jay-Z's alleged secret family. Industry insiders have claimed for years that a network of individuals quietly exists, insisting they are his biological children. Lawsuits, Instagram revelations, and affidavits have all surfaced only to vanish in sealed records and dismissals. Illegitimate Macer says she was told her whole life that Jay-Z was her father, even pointing to her mother's past connection to him. Amir Satterthwaite has spent more than a decade in courtrooms trying to force a paternity test, his filings stretching from Pennsylvania to New Jersey to federal court. Each time, Jay-Z's legal team argued technicalities, jurisdiction, property ownership, age of majority. Each time, the DNA test never happened. Why? That question refuses to go away.
Beyonce and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
A former friend of Jay-Z once alleged that one of these supposed daughters lives in a house the mogul pays for, with bills covered but restrictions placed on what she can display. Others argue that quiet settlements have been arranged to keep stories from reaching the headlines. And while none of these claims have ever been proven, the persistence is remarkable. The same names surface again and again. If just one of these stories were true, it would rewrite the entire narrative of Jay-Z as the picture-perfect family man with Beyonce. The fact that he continues to avoid DNA testing only fuels the fire. Could West's explosive accusations finally push this into the spotlight in a way Jay-Z cannot ignore? The danger for the Carters is clear. If more individuals step forward, especially now with the media frenzy surrounding Diddy's downfall and lawsuits tying Jay-Z's name to old scandals, the pressure could become overwhelming. Imagine the spectacle of multiple lawsuits, interviews, and investigations all converging at once. It would be a feeding frenzy for tabloids, and the Carter brand, built on control, perfection, and flawless presentation, would be thrown into chaos. Ye seems determined to drag this possibility into the public eye. Whether it's through music, posts, or cryptic interviews, he is hammering the same point. The Carters have secrets, and those secrets could ruin them.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time. like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see.
The scariest part, Beyoncé's alleged role as strategist in this saga. She is known as one of the most image-conscious performers in history, rarely granting interviews, carefully curating every public appearance. To hear Ye tell it, that control isn't just about stage lighting or choreography, it's about shaping narratives to crush threats. If he's right, then every headline branding him unfit, unstable, or outrageous was less about his actions and more about a deliberate campaign to discredit him before he could blow the lid off Jay-Z's past. It would mean the flawless image of Beyoncé isn't just the result of discipline, but of ruthless calculation. We also can't ignore the eerie timing. Jay-Z has just been named in lawsuits tied to shocking allegations involving his longtime ally, Diddy. Though Jay-Z has strongly denied the claims, the connection is damaging. At the very same moment, Ye resurfaces with accusations about illegitimate children and Hollywood manipulation. For a public that has already watched powerful men fall under scandal after scandal, it's not hard to imagine this gaining traction. If even a fraction of West's claims gain mainstream attention, the Carters will face the fight of their lives.
He has a long history of wildly inappropriate and bizarre behavior. He's been very open about.
What stands out is how Ye seems to know he's playing with fire. He drops bombshells, then deletes them. He insults, then apologizes. He says he loves Jay-Z, then claims betrayal. This push and pull feels like a man torn between fear and rage, someone who knows he has information that could rock the industry, but also knows the consequences of speaking it. It's the behavior of a man who believes he is being silenced, and that belief alone keeps his fans and critics glued to every post. So here we are, watching one of the most powerful couples in entertainment face the ugliest rumors of their careers, fueled not by outsiders, but by a former insider who once stood at their side. We're left with haunting questions. How many heirs are really out there, living quiet lives in the shadows? How far would Beyoncé go to protect her family's image? And what happens if Ye refuses to stop talking? The empire they built may be more fragile than we ever realized. In the end, it all comes down to one chilling possibility. If Ye is telling the truth, then we are only seeing the surface of a much larger iceberg. The Carters have spent years projecting unity, glamour, and control. But what if behind that veneer lies a web of hidden families, broken promises, and power plays so ruthless they could rival any Hollywood script? We may soon find out, so we ask you, are West's claims the desperate cries of a man unraveling, or the first cracks in a dynasty built on secrets? Drop your theories in the comments, because one thing is certain, this story is far from over. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and never look away when the mask starts to slip.